Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Transfer Talk podcast. My name is Pete Graves.
He's Peter Graves. He's Peter Graves. He's Peter Graves.
Oh, World Cup theme.
So listen, this is part of our thing that we do on the Transfer Talk podcast.
I
know we're on
was
YouTube
gone.
now.
Yeah.
I know. And I know everyone's watching every single second of it.
Yeah.
And we were considering, do we continue with the song? But for all our loyal viewers and listeners from before,
the song. Yeah.
I've decided it's going to stay.
Well, I thought that was nice as World Cup theme. Three
Exactly.
Peters on the shirt.
Yeah. I did plan to do this one pre-England-Croatia and was praying for an England win.
Yes, perfect.
And it's all worked out.
We got one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Welcome, Dharmesh, Sheth. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Thanks for rejoining us. We missed you.
Here in spirit, Peter.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know you always are. And ESPN Sam Tighe has been here holding the fort.
I know.
You know, week in, week out. Workhorse he is.
Carrying the load.
Yeah. Incredible. Great to see you both. England got a win, as you said. Absolutely fantastic. We enjoy it?
I loved the second half. It's the best England have played at a World Cup for,
ever.
Like my whole life. Absolutely incredible, yeah. So one or two dodgy moments in the first half and some lapses. I actually missed the second Croatia goal. I was looking at my phone because I thought it was already half time. And I suspect that that's what the England players thought too. And they were horrified to see the ball go into the box.
I did think it was weird when they all started looking at their phone. Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah. Like Sam, I was actually looking at my phone as well when the goal went in.
Do you know what's weird? I was looking at my phone.
That's not like you. Is
that
no, but
it's not weird.
No, it ruined it because I was at a live screening and they were showing it, you know, through I guess they streaming it. So it was a little bit of a delay because I know I was looking through my phone because I saw Croatia equalise on my phone before the screen. But I didn't do that annoying thing where I and ruined it for everyone. I just stayed quiet. But I knew what was coming and I just watched the heartbreak as people were like, and I knew it was happening. But I love the game. I'm going to start, I always do this, I'm going to start name dropping. I watched it at a screening with Kevin Keegan, Sam Allardyce, David James and Ray Parlour, right?
Fantastic.
I was on my own on the sofa.
Well, it's kind of like we're underlining sort of the difference between you and me, you know. Yeah, I was
100%.
with 1,000 people, microphone in my hand, you know, leading the charge. I was sitting next to Kevin Keegan, and the moment that will stick in my mind forever was that when Tuchel brought on 3 attackers at 3-2, and Kevin Keegan's little face was like, bring on 3 attackers. Bring on 3 attackers. And it was like the endorsement. It was like, this is Keegan ball here, you know. And that's the one thing for me that I would say I enjoyed it so much. Usually with England, they get the noses in front and then it's like go defensive and then it's that stress of they're going to concede. But they're 3-2 up and they wave after wave of attack. It was very refreshing.
Yeah, I loved that. That was a wonderful, wonderful part of that second half. And it's the big contrast, I think, between Tuchel and Southgate. I'm a huge fan of Southgate and everything he did for England. I'm certainly not one of those that derides his time in England. But the difference between the two is that Southgate brings on defenders. And Tuchel goes, you know what, I want to press higher, I want to press harder, I want to keep running in behind, I'm going to bring on 3 runners, 3 attackers and just keep going.
Yeah.
And it was relentless, wasn't it? It was absolutely relentless. And in the end, England sort of crushed Croatia.
Yeah.
I feel like could have scored 6 goals there and it wouldn't have looked out of place.
Yeah, their keeper made a few good saves. Aside from England, we're also going to be talking about the transfers in a second. Is there been that player that's caught your eye and you've thought, oh, they're good, like someone in Cape Verde or anyone random?
I mean, the best player at the World Cup so far for me was Michael Olise. Not that he needs a particular introduction. We all know his class, but didn't he take the lid off Senegal there? Wow, just what a performance that was in the second half. Like him and Mbappe were just ridiculously good. That just shocked me. And then in terms of younger players, I mean, we will get to them, but Ayyoub Bouaddi
He's taken mine already.
making, I think, his fourth appearance. Third appearance for Morocco, first at a tournament. Unbelievable. Yan Diomande, we'll talk about him as well. Just brilliant. So a lot of the players that we were expecting to be very good coming into the tournament, living up to the hype on day one for sure.
Yeah, and the big names coming to fruition now. We've seen, haven't we, say Mbappe, Messi,
Messi hat-trick, Kane hat-trick,
it's all coming to the table.
I was going to say Bouaddi. Messi's caught my eye as well.
That's it. But if you haven't heard of him, Lionel Messi, one to watch for the future. Look, earlier this week, I got that one of those Sky Sports app push notifications telling me that Tottenham Hotspur were interested in your favourite player, Sandro Tonali.
I'm not sitting here talking about Tonali again. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. Love coming on this podcast, but I'm not doing that.
So just to sum up the rest of my weeks, I was already stressed about that. And then the England game finished last night. I was on a real high. And then I got back to my hotel room and started looking on social media. I wish I hadn't. And then to see that Liverpool have hijacked Newcastle's deal for Victor Munoz. It's been like, last summer was awful. Transfer-wise for Newcastle, this is just so far even worse. Before we talk about anything else, tell us about Munoz, Sam. Do us a favour and just tell me his rubbish, and then
Your body language, goodness
just
me.
crushed. Transfers have got the ability to do this. I was up here after England's win, and then decided to look a bit of transfer news because I knew we were doing this today, and was just crushed after.
It's June.
Yeah, never mind.
Anyways, omens are bad.
Look, Munoz is a fun little player for sure.
Okay.
We were all expecting him to move somewhere at the end of the season, just off the back of the fact that he got into the Spain squad was like a major positive for him, right? And it's like a credential for him to force his way into that squad. And he is really nippy, really aggressive. He's quick. He sprints everywhere. Sprints over there. He can beat a man on the outside. But this is not like a slam dunk signing, Pete. Like, it's 40 million euros. It's like 35 million pounds. There's a question as to whether or not he can step up to the Premier League level. He spent a lot of his time last season while he was beating his man. He was also having a lot of his shots blocked. Can you create enough separation against elite athletic fullbacks? Like, all these questions need to be answered. Like, you've not missed out on a diamond or a gem here. But I think the good thing about Munoz and Liverpool is that he suits Iraola's style of play really well. Like, all those sprints, all that work rate will be perfect for that manager. And then it's about whether or not you can take it from here to here in terms of quality. Because he left Real Madrid last summer for like 5 million euros, and it's all of a sudden is on a completely different stage. Osasuna to Liverpool. It's a big step.
Yeah, I think it's just for Newcastle fans, it's the wounds of last summer and Tighe and then HIJACK, and all of a sudden now
Joao Pedro.
I mean, is it going to be another like
Sesko.
Sorry, sixthchoice.com. But as for Liverpool, like Munoz coming in, is that they done as far as wingers are concerned?
I don't think
or
so.
They're just going to wait for Newcastle to agree a deal with another one and then gazumpas one more time?
Maybe. But I think from the outset of this window, I think Liverpool wanted to bring in at least one winger.
Yeah.
So not just a Victor Munoz. I think the imminent arrival of Munoz hasn't dampened the interest in the one we've been talking about throughout this window. I'm sure you guys have been mentioning it on this very podcast, in Jan Diomande from RB Leipzig. That's problematic, though. Look, RB Leipzig, number one, don't want to let him go. They want him to tie him down to a new long-term contract. Number two, there are a lot of other clubs who are interested in him. And he looked pretty decent in that first game.
Really good.
For Ivory Coast in the World Cup. And it's still a big if, RB Leipzig say, okay, you can go. I think they value him at around 86 million minimum. So price-wise, it's a problematic deal to do as well. But granted, there's definitely interest from Liverpool. And the arrival of Munoz is not going to end their interest in Diomande because they want to bring in more than one winger. There's a big Mohamed Salah-shaped hole.
Yeah.
Clearly, obviously, last season not so big, but throughout his entire time at Liverpool. So
yeah, and it's going to cost a lot of money to fill that hole. Like you say, 86 million for Diomande, or in excess of that. Munoz is going to cost around 34.5 million. It's a lot of money to spend on wingers, Sam. Is that the priority at Liverpool, do you think?
I mean, they've got quite a lot of different problems here that they need to fix, but wingers right up there. Like, they need solutions because Cody Gakpo didn't have a particularly good season. Federico Chiesa hasn't worked out. I'd say it was worth a look and worth a gamble, but it hasn't worked out. And of course, Mohamed Salah is due to leave as well. So yeah, you need more players. You need more quality, and you need more players, and you need to reload. And you need to go and find those players that are also going to suit the new manager as well. So I really can see why they're looking at spending this much money on refueling that attacking line. It's pretty obvious to me that winger is one of the priorities.
Well, what about Tonali? From a Newcastle perspective, obviously they've missed out on Munoz. A lot of teams linked with Tonali, but he's got no buyout clause. He's under contract. Recently extended it, I think, or it was revealed that he'd extended it by another year. Clearly, there's been loads of talk. Tottenham, City have been mentioned, Arsenal, others. But Eddie Howe's going to want big money for him, surely. What sort of fee will he demand?
The fact that you're saying there's no release clause there, 2029 as well, his contracts, I think they got an option for a further year as well. So all in 2030. And this is a player who Newcastle United will almost feel, I'm sure you'll be able to tell us more about this, that, they stood by him, right? Throughout the whole ban for the betting allegations, and now he wants to go. I mean, it doesn't look great for Newcastle United. Are they almost like thinking, well, come on, Sandro, you do owe us something here? Because it all came out in January, didn't it? That Arsenal were interested, whereas we think it might have come from it might have been agent driven. But when like stories like this emanate, there's no smoke without fire. So clearly there's a situation there where maybe Tonali wants to leave. It's good in one aspect if there are more than one club after Tonali. We mentioned Tottenham, we mentioned Man City. There was all that talk about Arsenal during January. So you can create that kind of bidding war. If there is only one club in for him and he wants to go to that club, it makes it quite problematic for Newcastle United. Having said that, they don't have to do anything. They hold the cards. They don't have to sell him. But we all know how sometimes these things work out. If a player is unhappy, the power of the player, more often than not, usually kind of wins out, and there's going to have to be some sort of compromise by the end of it. But clearly there's an issue there for Newcastle. You've talked about how horrible this transfer window started already. I mean, this is just going to compound it.
If you'd asked me yesterday, right, I would have been like, the part of my mind was like, we've sold Gordon to Barcelona and we're going to use the money to reinvest in Munoz. If we sell Tonali, we're going to use the money to reinvest. But I've lost all faith now in anything. Like, this Munoz thing is really, honestly, it shook me to the core, because in my mind I was thinking, yeah, we're playing the PSR game here a bit. We're going to selling high and bringing in young, promising players. And in my mind, Gordon at Barcelona, Munoz comes in. Yeah, I can see I can see what they're thinking here. And then Tonali goes, we bring in some young centre midfielder. Now I'm just thinking, Gordon's gone. We've failed to get the replacement. Who we're going to go to next? Tonali goes. What hope have we got of getting the replacement here? He would just end up probably at Liverpool. Like,
oh, gosh.
I'm on the floor, lads.
Yeah.
I'm probably the worst person to present a transfer podcast today. I'm on the floor with transfers. And look, I mean, we've seen Spurs are definitely interested. Look, I don't want to go too much into we make predictions on here. I don't think he's going to end up at Tottenham.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to end up at Tottenham. I actually don't. And I've just had a little bit of chats with people within the club. I'd be surprised if it was Tottenham.
Do you think he will stay at Newcastle?
Probably not. But I think he may go at the right price. But where's the appetite to? I mean, we're talking what, 100 million for Tonali?
This is a big fee for someone, isn't it? This is an awful lot of money. Like, you can't countenance the idea of selling Tonali for like 70. 70 is too low. Like, point blank, it's too low. He's too important to you. And he's 26. He's got like 3 years in the Premier League. He's been excellent. So why would you sell for anything less than 80, 90? And then if there's a bidding war, three clubs interested, starts to tick up towards 100. So this is another potentially massive deal. This is, and Newcastle, if they hold on here and Elliot Anderson goes for over 100 million, now they're not directly comparable in terms of age and nationality. There will be an English tax on that. Anderson is 3 or 4 years younger. But they're pretty similar in terms of what they offer a Premier League club and how many Premier League years they've got under their belt. So Newcastle will be looking at that and saying, maybe take 10 million off the Anderson price and that's what it will cost you, which will probably end up north of £100 million. So yeah, someone's going to have to really, really like Tonali to pull off this deal.
One thing I would say as well, as far as Newcastle are concerned, you talk about the horrible deja vu that they're getting compared to what happened last summer with Tighe and then Isak, but particularly with the Isak deal, what they cannot afford to happen, that happened with Isak, is this going right to the end of the window. There's one thing you can't. Newcastle United can't be in a position where this deal happens so late that where are we getting a replacement from, number one, but then also they need to kind of sort the replacement out in advance of Tonali going, because they don't want to be in a position where they have this £100 million burning a hole in their pocket. What are a selling club going to do then? Newcastle going to be desperate to buy a midfielder from somewhere. Just raise the price, and why wouldn't they? So that's why they've got to be careful. That it's June. I know you're on the floor at the minute, but this window's just opened.
Yeah.
But I think with regard to Tonali, if he is going to go, they need to get it done and dusted quickly so that they can, Eddie Howe's given an opportunity to bring someone in and do it ahead of pre-season so they can bed in.
Other interest in Tonali? Do we think Arsenal? Do we think Man City? What is it serious interest from Arsenal?
I mean, if you go back to January, there was definitely interest. Arsenal are very clever how they do their business, though, because they will put their net quite far and wide, and they will try and sort out 3 or 4 deals simultaneously. And then they'll have their meeting, right? Which one are we pressing play on here? We saw it with Gyökeres and Sesko. Remember, they were after both of those players. We've seen it with players in other positions as well. But they'll decide what is best for the club, best financially, and best to move Arsenal forward. So if it is Tonali, and they are interested, which we think they are, he's one of a number of midfielders. I know we always say that phrase, only one of a number that they're looking at, but that is the case with Arsenal. They always do that.
This is what Andrea Berta does, I think, more specifically, the new sporting director, newish, 18 months in the job. He's very good at lining up 4 or 5 deals at once and going, right, how much does all of this cost? And then going away and thinking about it and making his choice. This is very, very like Berta coded, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Dom's talking about departures from Newcastle. Steve Nixon, he's been brilliant, head of recruitment at Newcastle for a long time, but he's leaving his role after 15 years with the club. West Ham are interested in having him head up their new sporting division.
Yeah, so on the face of it, Premier League to Championship, but I think the role he'll have more responsibility at West Ham United. It should be said here, though, that he's one of a number of candidates that West Ham United
one of a number, don't you?
They do. That they're looking at for this to head up the whole sporting division at West Ham, because clearly West Ham are in a bit of flux at the moment. They need to go. They're going to the Championship. They need to come straight back up. They've pinpointed Nixon as one of a number of candidates that they'll look at, but he clearly is one of the front runners for this job. They've seen what he's done at Newcastle. I mean, you'll be able to tell us a bit more. I mean, he's been involved in some of their best deals in the last 15 years.
100%.
If he can do as good a job, if not better, at West Ham United, then you'd have to say, there'll be even bigger favourites to come straight back up again.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's a new look leadership team at Newcastle United, which is why this summer was so big. I mean, you got Ross Wilson there, you got David Hopkinson, who's the new CEO. You felt after everything that went wrong last summer, we needed a refresh, really, in terms of that. And I just think that's why fans are so flat about this Munoz deal, because this was the first one. The Gordon sale's been widely, well received by fans. Fair enough, he's gone to Barcelona, good fee, good luck to the lad. And then the Tonali links, but I think Tonali being linked so heavily with Spurs was hard to swallow, because you think City, yes, you can see it. Arsenal, yes, they're the top 2 in the league. Spurs finished 16th or something. 17th. You're like, hang on a second.
2 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, are they still a bigger club than us? And then people say, PSR, it's all coming out. And then now Steve Nixon going and Munoz. So listen, next week we could be recording this. I could be on cloud 9. So I do apologise to listeners.
I reckon
and viewers.
you will be as well. For no particular reason.
Yeah.
You're just a very bubbly person.
I am a bubbly person.
I've never seen you like this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, you've got to be real, haven't you? You've got to be real. That's why people love our podcast, because we bring our true emotions and feelings into the studio every week in, week out. Good luck to Steve Nixon at West Ham. Hope you do a great job, Steve. You've been brilliant for us. Absolutely sensational. Can we move on to someone else?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we should.
Great. Chelsea?
Okay.
Onto that?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop Chelsea. Now, Marc Cucurella to Real Madrid. 51.8 million. Now, Sam, it was only a month ago that you were warning Chelsea against selling Cucurella on this podcast, but they haven't listened to you.
They have not listened to me. Shocking.
They should listen to you.
They should, yeah.
Everyone should.
I don't I don't like this. I don't like this move from Chelsea's perspective, to be honest with you. They've missed on so many signings over the last 4 or 5 years. You know, the vast majority of the players they brought in have not worked out. But there are 5 or 6 you can point to that have been unequivocally successful, and Cucurella is part of that very small group of 5 or 6 people. The model can't be that when one of them works out, they have to go.
Yeah.
Because there's talk about Enzo Fernandez. Barcelona tried to sign João Pedro after 1 year, and now Marc Cucurella has gone to Real Madrid. So not only are Chelsea left with the ones that don't work out, but they're losing the ones that do. So I don't love it. And also, left back is notoriously difficult to solve, right? Something between 10 and 20% of footballers on this planet are left-footed, which creates a very small pool of players that can actually play left back to a very high level.
Yeah.
It is one of the most difficult positions to fill in the team. Almost, I'd say, on a par with getting the right number 9 in. So to have a really good one and then just lose him, it's just bad. Like, it's just bad. And I don't think the fee is great either, to be honest with you. It's like 47 rising to 51. I think it's pretty modest for a player of Cucurella's ability.
Xabi Alonso's only just arrived at the club. Do you think he had anything to do, any say on this? Or?
Yeah, he would have done.
Yeah,
because
he's manager, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the manager. So he'll be part of that leadership group that has a say in the decision making when it comes to recruitment and transfers. So, I mean, we don't know the ins and outs, whether he was one of the people in that leadership group who says don't sell Cucurella, or whether he's got a different kind of plan. So is he thinking, well, 3 at the back, you'll know more about this, Sam. That's his preferred formation.
He played it at Leverkusen when he had the opportunity to do whatever he liked. He did not play it at Real Madrid. I distinctly believe that's because if he'd have tried that, he'd have been booed out of the stadium. That's not a very Real Madrid thing to do, is it, a back 3? But given carte blanche, which I'm sure he will have been given, because to take this job and become manager, not head coach, would suggest that he's been given certain liberties that others haven't. I would not be surprised to see him rock up with a back 3 and wing backs. So the question would have been, would Cucurella have fit that mould? Yeah, obviously he would have done. So what's the solution? What's next? We'll see.
We had Carvey on the podcast, Tom. He was saying about the club looking to bring more like experience into the club. Like, you know, they've sort of made a name for themselves bringing in these young players on massive contracts, but they were turning into more experience. But I mean, Cucurella's one of the most experienced players in the squad. He's gone. Do you concur with that? Is there going to be a change of approach?
We've been saying it nearly every week we were on this podcast. Chelsea need to change the way that they approach transfers and recruitment. At the beginning, they're reinventing the wheel. 20-year contracts for players who can grow at Chelsea. But if it doesn't work out, what happens? And every pundit has said, every expert has said, the glaring mismanagement at Chelsea, if you like, is it's all well and good bringing in these young players and seeing them all grow, but how many are going to see that process through? Because you're seeing this situation now when Cucurella is part of that process, helping these young players come through, and now he's gone. Do they need to bring in ready-made players, mid-20s, who are experienced at the highest level and who are ready to go? Probably yes, they do.
Who is that player? Who replaces Cucurella for you?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on if they play with a back 4 or a back 3. So if they're using fullbacks or wing backs, you know, I'm sure that they've got a lot of faith in whoever's next up. Joel Hatto had a reasonable end to the season in tough circumstances. You know, maybe Xabi Alonso turns around at the end of the World Cup and says, actually, I'd quite like Alejandro Grimaldo, who I had at Leverkusen, who was so good for him as a wing back for 2 years. Maybe he wants to pick up a player like that who's 30 or 31, so would fit that kind of experienced mold as well. I guess we'll have to see, but like, this is a very difficult spot to fill on the pitch, so they've put themselves up against it a little bit here. My one question is whether or not Cucurella as a sale is kind of like a symptom of this bad process that they've put into place over the last 3 years, because we can't ignore the fact that they've just posted a British record in terms of losses by a massive, massive margin, and they are in a UEFA settlement agreement which restricts how much money they can spend and forces them to generate revenue. So it might be that this Cucurella sale was a case of hands are tied. I don't know, but the fact that it's happened before June 30 and the fact that it's what I consider to be a key player going may suggest that this is something that just simply had to happen, and that Chelsea are going to have to work their way out of this because they've put themselves under a lot of pressure.
So Cucurella off to Real Madrid. And speaking of Real, I mean, they're busy, aren't they? Not just on the field, but off the field as well. Cucurella through the door. They've also got Bernardo Silva on a free transfer. And now Ibrahim Konate as well, raiding the Premier League, with Jose Mourinho going to be in the dugout as well.
But this has got the stamp of Jose on it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The signings.
Yeah.
So the youngest of them all is 27 years old.
So that's Konate, right? Yeah.
And 30-year-old and a 31-year-old in Bernardo Silva and
Bernardo's
Denzel
31.
Dumfries.
Yeah, Dumfries to be announced, but yeah, they're all
So
Dumfries is
experienced.
30 and
Jose Mourinho goes to club. It's not all about 5, 6, 7 years down the line. It's about winning now.
Yeah.
And he's done it before. Whether he's still the James Jose Mourinho that was winning all of these titles at his absolute peak, that's another question. Can he do it again at Real Madrid? We'll have to wait and see. But he's giving himself the best opportunity by bringing in players who are ready right now. Like we were just talking about what Chelsea should do. Maybe Chelsea should be taking a leaf out of what Real Madrid are doing, because some of these players that they are signing, they would be perfect for Chelsea.
of course, yeah.
The
absolutely.
experience that Chelsea need. But Jose's clearly like, hold on a second, 27 years old, that's it. I don't need the 19-year-old who's going to have to prove himself. Get them in now, win now.
I mean, for what it's worth, Real Madrid took the complete opposite approach last summer. Do you remember when they signed Dean Huyson? They signed Alvaro Carreras, who 21, 22 years of age. So they went quite hard on the youth policy last summer, Real Madrid, and they've been trying to work Arda Güler into the team, for example, another young player. They're all talented, but it quickly became apparent that they couldn't necessarily stand up to the scrutiny of playing in that white shirt, and it's a heavy shirt when it's not going well. So I think Mourinho is effectively taken a look at that squad and said, before I got here, you bought some really good young players. Actually, we need to balance out this dressing room with some experience, which, yeah, again, it's what you're suggesting maybe should happen at Chelsea. They've got a blueprint right there. Jose has just signed 4 players, more or less. They're not all quite announced yet because Dumfries hasn't been announced yet. But before the end of June, he's going to have 4 new players, all 27 or older.
Bernardo Silva surprised me at 31. Still got do you think he'll be successful at Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a fantastic end to the season for City. He may have gone a little bit quiet earlier in the campaign, but he was superb.
He's so good. He's like, you look at him, it's like 4 or 5 years, you can still see him playing.
Right.
He's so intelligent.
Like Luka Modric, we saw him play last night at 40.
Yeah.
You see Silva doing something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he wants to. Yeah. Silva's one of the most tactically intelligent players the game has ever seen. Like, there's no one that can play 6 positions to that level other than him.
Yeah.
Like, and the managers that he's played for, the things that he'd have picked up, like, he's a dream. So of course he'll be successful at Real Madrid.
It's funny talking about Modric. Keegan was saying last night that he got Modric to Newcastle's training ground. I know we've moved on from Newcastle, but this sums up why things never change. Got Modric to Newcastle's training ground, right? And said, we've got this player, he's Croatian, and want to sign him. This was before he went to Spurs. And Mike actually said, no, he's too old. And he's too small. And Keegan was like, and he's still playing tonight at 40. Well, the Ballon d'Or. So another one that got away, yeah?
He was too old then. What does Mike Ashley think of his age now?
Well, exactly, yeah. God, goodness, got gazumped again by Tottenham. Story of my life. Anyway, moving on. I said we're going to move on, so we will. Arsenal. Now, while you've been sunning yourself away, not being on the podcast.
Sunning myself.
Yeah, Champions League.
Hard work.
Oh,
mate.
yeah, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Sunny's
You
on.
can see.
Yeah, enjoying
Sunny's
yourself.
on?
Yeah, you know,
Really?
sunglasses on. Enjoying yourself by fountains
recall
and
that.
stuff. Yeah, I've seen. I've been watching you. But Arsenal, they're going to. They obviously the Premier League champions, lost in the Champions League final. You were there.
Sunning it up.
Sunning it up, yeah, enjoying yourself. We were here working hard on the podcast. Are they going to have a busy summer?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite different to last summer. If you
Right.
think about what happened last summer, they spent 250 million, I think. Well, actually, you could actually say 300 million because the Pierre and Capier deal was an obligation which will kick in round about now. So if you count that into their spending, it was 300 million.
Okay.
But what was pretty significant about it was the number of departures was minimal. they kept that squad very much together, because I think they decided then just a little tweak in their recruitment policy that let's go for now. We need to win now. So some of the players that they bought, Gyökeres, mid-20s, Eze, mid to late 20s, Norgard, even though he didn't get much game time, as opposed to before when they were bringing in younger players with a younger profile. Now they said, we need to win now, which is what they did. This summer, they still want to be in the mix for big name players. We've spoken many times, I'm sure, about Morgan Rogers and the interest Arsenal have in him, and a couple of other players that they could bring in. What will happen this time, though, is there will be departures this time. And I'm told, it's been described to me that there could be a key player departing Arsenal. Now, define key player. You know, someone who's been in the squad, in and around the first team for the last few years. If you look at all the positions that they're looking to strengthen in, it doesn't take a genius to find out which players they might be willing to leave the Emirates. So you've got, I think, keep an eye on the Ben White situation. When during Timber's fit, Ben White clearly is not the first choice for Mikel Arteta, but Timber was injured for a large chunk of last season. Yeah. So Ben White came in and then he himself got injured. Up front, I think they want to really strengthen those positions. After they won the league, it was very interesting what Mikel Arteta said in one of his news conferences. I need to reinvent myself and I want the recruitment to be done quickly and efficiently. So he wants it done so that everyone is ready for pre-season. And I think Arsenal have been pretty good with that in recent times, trying to get their deals done so that everyone is used to the Arsenal way during pre-season. I know it's going to be a bit truncated this time because of the World Cup, but if you look at the forward positions, Gabriel Jesus, final year of his contract. Gabriel Martinelli, final year of his contract, albeit Arsenal have got a year's option. Leandro Trossard, going to be 32 in December, final year of his contract. How many of those three players would you think Arsenal would offer an extended deal to?
None.
Probably none. And are they willing to allow any of them just to see out their contract? They'll weigh up against the squad strength and how much money they'd be sacrificing in a transfer fee. Jesus, I think they would accept offers from between 18 to 20 million pounds. And if they don't get...
What are you laughing?
Of course they would.
Yeah, but if they don't get that, I think
Of course
there could be a situation where would they let him stay and see out his contract at Arsenal?
It's like a super sub type thing.
Possibly. Martinelli, they've got the insurance of that 1 year extra, but he will probably... You got to look at these players themselves. They're not getting the first team action that they would have wanted. Trossard is a different case. I can see them... If a really good offer came in, I can see them letting him go. But I can also...
What's that look like? What would an offer... What do you think? What's Trossard?
I don't know. He's probably the one out of the three.
But I can see him staying.
I'd be more inclined to keep.
Yes, I can see him staying as well.
I can see why patience may have run out with Martinelli, who over the last couple of years hasn't built.
How much are you paying for Martinelli?
20 to 25 million, maybe 10 for Jesus and maybe 10 for Trossard. Like these aren't. I don't think these are big money makers, but it will be a case of moving wages on as well for Arsenal here.
And squad space as well, creating squad space.
Yeah.
If you look at what they did last summer, some of their dealings were increasing the quality between the squad and the first team. Yeah. So Arsenal won the league last season and they had terrible injuries last season. If that had happened the previous season, you probably would have not expected Arsenal to win the league. And they had those injuries the previous season. They weren't even contending, really. I know they finished second, but really...
The whole objective to me last summer looked like we need depth. We need more players because we need to be able to ride out these injury crises. When Odegaard goes down, we need an answer. That answer was Eberechi Eze.
Yeah.
When Ben White goes down, we need an answer. When Saliba goes down, we need to have Christian Mosquera. Like, they had an answer for pretty much everything. And they did a great job of building a squad that could hack 60 games and get to the end. Now they need 3 players to lift the ceiling of the team rather than 7 or 8 to lift the floor, which was last year's objective.
One of them could be Morgan Rogers. Any likelihood in that? That's again.
I mean, I think that one is live. I think Arsenal definitely interested in Morgan Rogers. I don't think at this stage there's been club-to-club contact, but there's also an understanding that if, it's a big if still, a deal can be agreed between the two clubs, that Morgan Rogers would be open to speaking to Arsenal to as opposed to like putting my neck on the line there and saying, yeah, he wants to go. But there's definitely legs in that one.
Bradley Barcola, he's another name being mentioned.
You know what? That one's quite an interesting one. I think there are a lot of clubs who more than happily take someone like Bradley Barcola into their squad. I think from the PSG side, we've mentioned him before in Yan Diomande. I think they're one of the clubs that are interested in Diomande.
So then Barcola would go.
If he was to come in to add to that, I mean, that front three that started the Champions League final, Kvaratskhelia, Dembele, Desiree Doué, they look like they're the first choice front three. If you bring in someone like Diomande, we were talking about closing down the quality between the squad and the team. Diomande, I think, would more than do that.
So then Barcola would be surplus.
Maybe that's when PSG will consider something.
Also, a lot of that is going to come down to Bradley Barcola himself, right? I think if he decides that he's fed up of sitting on the sidelines, sitting in Doué's shadow, can't get a guaranteed spot, if he really decides that's enough, then that might change things from PSG's perspective. Because I do think they're a bit like, well, we'll just see what Bradley decides.
Yeah.
Genuinely, that looks like maybe their position right now. And it will be on him, probably post-World Cup, to decide what he really wants, whether it's Paris or somewhere else.
What about Christos Tzolis from Club Bruges?
There's an interest there. That one looks like it's another closing the quality down between the squad and the first team. If we're talking about players like Martinelli maybe moving on, Trossard potentially moving on, would Tzolis be an upgrade on those? When you look at the age profile, when you compare him to Trossard, clearly yes. And I think Crystal Palace were very close to signing him last summer. And I think he's had a really good season so far this season. And it looks like with the prices being mooted around for Tzolis, it looks like quite a straightforward deal to do. From Club Bruges' perspective, they want a Belgian Pro League record for him. But Belgian Pro League record would represent about £34 million for Arsenal. And when you break that down, it wouldn't be paid in one hit. It would be over the course of a contract. I don't think that is a difficult deal to do. And Sam would be able to tell me a little bit more about the actual qualities of this player. But everything that I've heard about him, it seems like it would be a good price for a player of his ability.
This is the same price as Victor Munoz, right? It's the same thing. It's about 40 million euros, about 35 million pounds. So it's roughly, and it's a 24-year-old Greek winger versus a 23-year-old Spanish winger. So this is basically, you get to know the costs of what a transfer takes, transfer costs between Premier League clubs. You're also getting a very clear picture of what it costs a Premier League club to buy from outside the league, which is roughly half, maybe even a third. It's in this kind of 40 million euros area. So Tzolis is right in line with that. He's had a couple of really good years with Club Bruges. He played 3 times against Villa season before last, so I saw him 3 times, once in the flesh. He's tricky, he moves, he's agile, and he loves to cut in and shoot. Again, it's the same questions for Munoz, which is, can you take it from here to here? All the defenders you'll come up against are better, stronger, quicker, more agile. They'll block off your shots, they'll block off your angles. You can never tell with those players what kind of separation they'll get until you really just see it. But at that kind of price, you're sort of tempted into giving it a go because it doesn't feel like that much money.
But right at the top of the podcast, guys, you both picked out Ayyoub Bouaddi as a player who's caught your eye in this World Cup. Of course, plays for Morocco. But we know Arsenal have been looking at him for a while. Is he another one on the list?
He's only 18, so I mean, how long?
Not that long.
Well, no, he's been playing 2 seasons though.
Yeah, but I think more than just off the back of that performance against Brazil, for Morocco. So
they scouted him.
They're very aware of him. But like we mentioned about Arsenal before and how they do their business, he'll be. They're clearly looking to maybe strengthen in midfield. Maybe if Norgard goes, is that an opportunity to bring in another midfielder? But they'll be looking at other players as well. And as Sam rightly pointed out, Andrea Berta, the expert in getting lots of his ducks in a row, lots of deals agreed and saying, bang, I want that one. Going to depend how much it's going to cost because he's just signed a new contract. his market value is going to go up after
Yeah.
a World Cup. I
Sorry,
always remember
that 10 million, that Brazil performance added 10 million euros to its price tag. It's that simple, and it's a nightmare for anyone that was looking to buy Bouaddi. He was so good, so good. Like when you play your first ever World Cup game and you play it against that famous yellow shirt. I know we all agree that Brazil look a bit questionable right now. It's not peak Brazil, but when you turn up to a tournament like that and you just boss Brazil's midfield. He was so good.
Yeah.
It's 10 million euros on top of whatever it was. I wouldn't be surprised if he's now north of 60.
Wow.
that's why I always remember when Sir Alex Ferguson bought players after Euro 96 and he paid relatively big money for the likes of Karol Poborski and Jordi Cruyff because they performed so well at Euro 96 and they did not work out. And I think after that, his mentality was, in a World Cup year or European Championship year,
Don't be swayed.
make sure you get the deal done in advance of any of that.
We've seen it time and time again.
I know, because the prices. Stefan Guivarc'h, is that?
Guivarc'h
is one.
cheers for that.
Newcastle,
Yeah,
so-
yeah. He's scored a goal for France in their World Cup and came to Newcastle to partner Shearer. Worst player I've ever seen. Not joking.
You haven't said that. have you?
Worst player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we've had some bad ones.
Stefan, if you're listening, I don't agree with that.
We've seen it time and time again, haven't we? A player does well at World Cup, and you know, it was like, you know, it was El Hadj Diouf at Senegal. He, you know, ended up at Liverpool, didn't he? On the back of that, and he was at Bolton Wanderers within a year. Or whatever.
I mean, Lille are in a great position because they have got him tied down to a new contract. If there's no release clause involved in that, which they'll be praying there isn't, particularly after he's just added 50 million, was it? The latest?
Calm down.
What about I've got to ask you about the one of the big talking points. You've not been here, Don. Julian Alvarez. With all this stuff going on in Spain with Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid, like losing their stuff over it all. And could he end up at Arsenal? I mean, I'm sure Atletico Madrid, given them a choice, would rather sell him to Arsenal than to Barcelona or Real.
I mean, they like him. And Diego Simeone, before the semi-final against Arsenal, revealed all, didn't he? Yeah, Arsenal are interested, Barcelona are interested, Paris Saint-Germain are interested, but he's our player. They don't have to sell him. But there's talk coming out of Spain that he only wants to go to Barcelona. And the amount of times we've talked about Barcelona and how are they affording all of this kind of thing? Like, if 150 million, I mean...
Yeah, I mean
How
their
many
financial
levers do they have to
situation
pull?
has improved.
To that extent?
Well, yeah, that's another question entirely, because it's, you know, you'd be looking at a 250, 300 million euro summer at this rate, just with Gordon, Alvarez, and maybe one more. They've got other problems to fix as well, right? At centre back and potentially midfield, and yeah, it's obviously they've fallen back in line with the La Liga spending rules now, so that they're at a 1-to-1 ratio. It means that they can spend, for every euro they earn, they can spend €1. They've not been in line with that for years. So they've been restricted. They're finally kind of free of that.
Right.
But you still have to be fairly responsible, right? Because you still shouldn't spend, doesn't mean you can go out and spend 10 euros for every €1 you earn. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how much of this comes through, because already the price for Alvarez, I mean, what was the one that was
150?
150 is not enough. At that point, you do need to stop. But would the price be different for Arsenal? Because they're not in La Liga.
Yeah.
Talking of Barcelona, we've often spoken about the lure of Barcelona, but it brings us nicely on to Marcus Rashford, who they've obviously decided not to sign in favour of Anthony Gordon. So Manchester United, do we still think that he could end up going back to Old Trafford? Is there potential?
I don't know whether they've signed Anthony Gordon in preference to Marcus Rashford, because all the noises are they still want to sign Marcus Rashford, but they want to do it on their terms. And I don't think Man United are open to another, well, as it stands, they're not open to another kind of loan agreement that they had with Barcelona last season. Could he come back? He's a Manchester United player, so yes. Would Michael Carrick like him back? I mean, to increase the competition up front, why not have someone like Marcus Rashford? The big stumbling block here is Manchester United qualifying for the Champions League, I've heard, has triggered an increase in the wages of every one of their players. Now, Marcus Rashford is on huge money at United. One source has told us it could be as much as £325,000 a week that he would be on now that United are back in the Champions League.
Wow.
Now, is he going to start at United number one? We don't know. So do you continue paying £325,000 a week for someone who's not going to start? Or do they want to just draw a line under the whole situation? They need to be careful here, United, because they need to be in a position where publicly they're saying, yeah, we'll welcome Marcus Rashford back, because if they don't do that, then they know that clubs who want to sign Marcus Rashford have got a little bit of leeway there.
Yeah.
I think the option price was something like 25 or 26 million pounds.
Yeah, it's 30 million euros. So
now, if
roughly 25.
Barcelona aren't going to pay that, that's not a lot of money to buy Marcus Rashford. But alongside all of that, I don't think the fee, it's the wages that are coming into it, which is a big situation here. If you, to calculate it, what is it? 1.3 million pounds a month?
I don't know why you're looking at me. Famously bad at maths.
325,000 pounds a week.
Why are you now looking at me? I'm famously bad at everything.
It's roughly 1.2. You're right. Yeah,
you're looking at 35 to 40 million pounds a year.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
That's the wages.
It just feels like the ship sailed for me with Marcus Rashford and Manchester United. It just feels like that. But I hope he finds a club. You know, he took his goal brilliantly in the Croatia game last night, and I just hope he finds a club. I think the wages, he's going to have to,
and that won't have done
potentially
United's cause any harm either.
Of course.
I am surprised that Barca didn't pick up the option. Okay, maybe they're looking to renegotiate that, get an even cheaper price. But to be honest, I'd be surprised if someone else doesn't come in with the 30 million euros. If I was Bayern Munich, having lost out on Gordon to Barca, I would not be so proud as to not look at this and go, well, all right, maybe him then, because you watch these players working off Harry Kane for England. And Bayern have Harry Kane there, and they should be looking at all these others and going, how can we get these dynamics going? Like, they had an idea clearly that Gordon would do that. Rashford does the same thing.
If it is to be a permanent deal, though,
has he only got 1 year left?
No, Rashford, he signed a new contract, hence why he's on these big wages. So he's still got another 2 years plus a year's option, or maybe even 3 years.
It's a mess that needs sorting. That for sure. I want to ask you about Summerville at West Ham. He's emerged as a target for Manchester United as well. They clearly like West Ham players, don't they? Manchester United. What do we think with this one? Potential?
Potentially, yeah. I think I'm going to say that phrase again, aren't I? He's one of a number of forward players that they're looking at. But then I think, is it going to be tied to what happens with Marcus Rashford? Clearly, like we were saying about Newcastle, get your deals done in the background now so that if this eventuality happens, you're ready to go. So United cannot just rest on what's happening with Rashford. They need to sort out what happens if and when Rashford goes. Everything in the background ready to go. So they'll look at players like Crysencio Summerville. They'll look at other forward players.
Iliman Ndiaye?
Iliman Ndiaye is another one that's been mooted as well. But I think
Diomande?
Diomande could prove to be Phil, you can't help but like the player, but how much are you going to pay for someone?
Who out of that list? I mean, let's say we're casting aside Diomande. If you're going to go looking at players that we know a little bit about, Iliman Ndiaye, Summerville, or just go get Rashford back, which one are you doing if you're Carrick?
Jeez, I mean, the Rashford situation at United feels very emotionally complex and loaded, and if I was Manchester United, I would feel like I'd already drawn a line under that and had expected that to be done. So probably wouldn't want to open that back out again, but we'll see what the market says. They need an offer first and foremost, right, before they can even consider a different option. So from a playing perspective, I would probably pick Rashford, but I don't think that really works, right, as a fit. So of the other two, I think I prefer Ndiaye to Summerville at 50 million, although I'd have reservations over both at that price. That's a touch too much for me. Maybe 10 million, Pete. Maybe 10 million.
You are the voice when it comes to putting fees on players' heads. So I go with you with whatever you say. Look, we're nearly out of time. We started with me crying about Newcastle, so we're going to end this podcast, which has been probably my favourite ever to record, by talking about how well Sunderland are doing at the moment. Keith Downey, who gets called Pete Graves literally everywhere he goes. I'm told the latest figures would say he gets called Pete Graves 10 for every Keith Downey I get, but I do occasionally get a Keith. Hi, Keith! No, it's Pete. Oh, yeah. So that happens to me once in a while. But for Keith, it's like, Pete. He's, you once sent me a video, I sent it to you, of like everyone singing One Pete Graves on the bus while he was standing there. He just filmed it, sent it to me. But listen, Keith has been to see Sunderland Sporting Director Florent Ghisolfi and CEO Tom Burwell this week. He asked them about how they're approaching transfers this summer, given the fantastic season which saw them secure European football. Not only that, the Europa League this season. So let's have a listen.
Guys, great to see you. Thanks very much for your time today. Flo, I'll start with you if you don't mind. Last summer you were a busy man here at Sunderland. Are you expecting similar? Because obviously there's a whole change in the dynamic with European football coming up.
Yeah, it was a busy summer. You see the white hair there.
I know how you feel.
But yeah, no, this summer will be different. Because it was a rush. Last summer we had to increase the quality, we had to increase the volume of players who are able to play in the Premier League. For this summer, our philosophy is more stability. So yeah, of course we have to improve the quality, but it's not less volume and more precision, I want to say.
So like quality rather than quantity, do you feel this summer? This
is the idea, this is the plan.
Yeah, okay. And how does European football and everything that brings with it, how does that change things? Because I think most people look at it and think, well, hang on, we're going to need a lot more players. And do you feel you're in a stable position at the moment?
Yeah, I think yes, because the most important, the Europa League doesn't change one thing. The foundation we have is the more important. The foundations are the value we have, the quality, the mentality in the team, the cohesion we have in the team, the connection with people. So we have to protect this. So every player who will come in the team needs to fit with the mentality we want.
And we mentioned already about last summer's transfer window, the amount of players, 14 players that arrived, around about £150 million spent. If Flo needs to sign that quality that he mentioned, is the money there for him this summer?
Yeah, I think that one of the blessings that we have as a football club is we're built on really solid foundations. And in this world of football regulations and revenue, we sit on fundamentally strong 49,000-seater stadium that isn't your traditional freshly promoted football club, which means that we go into this summer where Flo is able to make the best decisions for our football club without undue pressure to make decisions in certain ways. He can operate in the way that he needs to.
What do you say to those who suggest that perhaps it's become a little bit too early in the journey and it's really difficult to combine Premier League football on a Thursday night and then Europa League on the Sunday? We've seen a number of clubs really struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, Flo will speak directly to what that means from a footballing point of view, but for us, it's like, don't change course. Our course going into season 2 was, how do we get better every day? How does our football organisation continue to evolve? How does our business continue to evolve? Those things don't change just because we're competing on a Thursday evening. So as long as we put those things at the heart of it and then recognise that there's a level of flexibility required, but work the plan was always in place. The plan doesn't change. There's some edits to it, shall we say, but the fundamental remains.
For you,
yeah,
Flo?
For sure it's a challenge. On the sports side, football side, for sure it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity because we are building a culture in this club, working culture, winning culture, be Sunderland in terms of values, and I think it's an opportunity to reinforce this culture playing Europa League also.
We spoke a lot about potential arrivals and what you're going to do. What position of the club in should a big club come in and try and take one of your players, because there've been so many success stories this season? There's clearly going to be some envious eyes.
Yeah, no, we are very clear. We are ambitious and we want to keep the best player in the team. This is the main objective. But we are not afraid to sell one player in one moment for 2 reasons. The first one is this is the project we sell to young player we are recruiting, and the second thing, we are not afraid to replace and to refresh the team also.
It feels like that's the case across the board in the Premier League now. All the clubs are saying we need to trade well, like we need to buy well, but we also need to sell well. It just seems to be the general model for the successful clubs.
Yeah, we want to be a sustainable club. This is our objective altogether. So yeah, it's part of the project.
But we are in the fortunate position because of the foundations that I speak about so often, that we're not dictated by what the accounts say. You know, we're in a position where Flo can make the best decisions for the football club based on the football club without pressure to turn around and say you must do this or do that, which is a great place to be going into in a season which has got so much in front of it.
Darms, Sunderland, I mean, what a season they've had. Fair play to them. I've said it on this podcast many times, like, jokes aside. They've done absolutely brilliant.
I had this conversation with a few people, actually. I know the manager of the year usually is the manager of the team that wins the Premier League. But for me, Regis Lebris.
Brilliant.
100%.
What a season.
Unreal.
There was even talk at one point that they were thinking, oh, is he the right man for Sunderland's longer-term future? And I'm like, just finished, what's it, 7th?
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that right now, do you? You finished 7th and you're in the Europa League. Just enjoy the moment.
I think they moved pretty quickly to rubbish those claims, though.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, they've done so well, and you know, now they're going to play in the Europa League. And Newcastle fans have sang for years. Have you ever seen a Mackem in Milan? Right? This is like a joke, 'cause they've never been in European competition, really top Europe. And I see one of the Milan clubs is in the Europa League.
Yep.
Oh,
AC
no.
Milan,
Yeah, that's, you know, it's just another hammer blow to Newcastle. Sam, you've seen your club, Aston Villa, having to deal with European football and trying to compete in the Premier League as well. I mean, it not Newcastle last season.
Yeah, but
Being in the Champions League and trying to play in the Premier League as well. How will a club like Sunderland cope with it?
well, the good news there is that it's a lot easier to manage in the Europa League. Speaking from a direct experience over the last 2 to 3 years, Villa really struggled with it in the Champions League because those midweeks are very, very difficult. Like the weakest,
You got to play your best team.
the weakest fixture you can potentially play there is something like you're going to go to Monaco, you know, and play in that weird stadium.
Yeah.
And that's taxing, that's difficult. Whereas in the Europa League, you know, it's you could get just about anybody at home and it would be completely fine. So,
Okay, so they could be
Sunderland have got less to worry about in that respect, but they still need the numbers, right? They did buy a lot of players last
Yeah,
summer.
they've got more players in this World Cup than someone said it was like they got
than
more
Real
than
Madrid.
Real
I think.
Madrid.
Yeah. Although Real Madrid have started buying players at the World Cup to make up for that.
Just because they've seen the start of our Sunderland.
Cucurella, Dumfries, Canate. Their scouting range is actually
Someone's
anyone playing
gone,
at the World
Sunderland have
Cup.
got more players in this World Cup. I was right, buy everyone.
Well, there was the Real Madrid don't have any Spanish players.
Yeah, I
in the
think
squad.
they're a bit
But
miffed, so they bought
but they
Cucurella.
bought one.
Yeah.
So that's the strategy. But look, they probably do need to keep going. And you are in an ideal world, you achieve, you get to 7th, you go into Europe, you buy better players, you buy more squad, you might buy more squad depth. What their SCR situation is, I don't know. That's one of the joys of modern football. Pete.
Squad cost ratio.
They get to achieve something, and then they have to look at the fine print to see if they're allowed to buy any more players. That will be one of the concerns. But they'll just need to make sure they have the options, and it is easier to manage Thursdays than it is the Wednesdays.
Well, that's good news. I, for one, hope that being in Europe doesn't massively affect their chances in the Premier League next season. Good luck to you all. Look, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Nice to see you both. It's been brilliant. Hope you enjoyed being back, Dharmesh.
Yes, like first time I've been in the studio. It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Comfortable there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Sam, nice to see you, mate.
Yes, but it was great.
Good.
Could you maybe turn up next week with a different attitude?
I will. I'll be happy next week. And then, but at least you know when I'm happy that it's genuine. It's genuine to me. I've never been one to hide my emotions. I can't do it. So yeah, I will promise to be happier next week. Well, fingers crossed. We'll see, won't we? But listen, I do appreciate you sticking with us right to the very end. All of you guys who've listened and tuned in, and wherever you have been watching and listening, whether you've been in your car or on the train, in the wind or in the rain, in your house or in your shed, on your couch or in your bed, on the hills or in the valleys, in the streets or in the alleys, out for a run or maybe on a walk. Thanks for listening to Transfer Talk.
And that's for sure.